Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we have Moriel Seror, an absolutely amazing artist hailing from Germany. We talk about tattoo artists coming together to fight against politics, the medical importance in tattooing, and having his own product line. Enjoy. Yeah, man. So like we were talking about, it seems like right after COVID, there was a boom of clients. People finally getting out of their houses, getting tattooed, and then it's just declined the last 6 to 9 months. It seems pretty much everybody I talk to, artists like yourself that are incredibly talented have stayed. You still have a waiting list, like you were saying, 6 months to a year, 9 months to a year. But people that haven't built up that kind of clientele or reputation seem to be struggling a little more than normal lately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, like, is this like a general direction where tattooing is going? Like, are things like actually slowing down, or is this still like from COVID? Like we don't really know. This could be like a change in the industry as well. I mean, there are studios popping up like crazy, even though Corona has been happening, even though people don't have money for opening studios, but they still do. So, I mean, could be this, or I don't know. They go hand in hand as well. Because artists think, it changed a lot. Now artists think they have to open a studio so fast right after their apprenticeship or whatsoever. I mean, I opened my studio after 2 years of apprenticeship as well, but um, I don't know. It's just like everyone needs their own studio, and could be that as well, or a combination of both.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I was thinking as well. As the industry has grown so much in the last 5-6 years, and then it's projected to double again by 2029. So it might be, I agree, a combination of the after effects of COVID, and then there just being so many more studios and artists that is kind of diluting, I guess, the clients or the population and where they're going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's still, we feel like there's a lot of studios, but on the other hand, if you compare this with barbers, for example, we're nothing. Like, there's just this few tattoo artists. It's like, I think also the clientele is growing. You have all categories of people, like age and professions. So this could be also like a chance, to see the industry is actually growing, to be more professional, to form alliances whatsoever. But that's one of the direction where it has to go to. If we just like be like a couple of random people just still tattooing in their private corner and no one is talking with each other, then we don't use this as a chance that we maybe have now a chance to build a real community, to build something where it can have an effect on politics. Like all the stuff that's going on right now with colors and restrictions and stuff. So this should be a chance that we use, so where we start to have an impact.
Yeah, I agree. With tattooing becoming less and less taboo, and again, the industry growing so much, it does seem like a great time for artists and shops to come together. And, I had a podcast the other day with a lady. She was talking about getting, like, instead, so in the US, every state has their own regulations, and it goes from, there's states that just legalized tattooing within the last 12 years to states that you don't even need a license to tattoo. It's mind-blowing. But with how much the industry has grown, getting like a federal level regulation so everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what's happening. And I think there is a lot of opportunity to do that now.
It should be, but this only works if we come together as a unity. We have these big regulations that were coming in Europe with the color thing, this whole REACH conformity. We probably saw it, and this was the first time actually where I felt like that we're actually trying to work together and not just like doing our own thing. We have this group that are actually pushing in front of the EU, trying to get the colors back. but there's still a long way to go. You know, we're still far from having actual influence on politics and stuff like this. You know, we're way too small to actually have influence. It's not like tobacco industry or alcohol industry, which is crazy because, you know, people can smoke, people can drink, because they're grown-ups. You know, they should be free to choose, but they're not free to choose in which ink to put in their body. You know, this just baffles me. But this is basically really just politics and the power where you can push because your industry is that big.
Yeah, and take me a little bit more into that. So I've heard about it. I've talked to some people over in Europe about these inks and colors starting to be banned, which is kind of like mind blowing, and I don't really understand it. I know there's a whole like political thing behind it, but as somebody in the U.S. and I've had people ask me about this, can you take me a little more into it, because I don't fully understand, I guess, why they're doing it.
But that's the thing, like none of us do. Like we're actually like really sitting here and we're like we don't get it. We had these pigments have been in use since there's tattooing, basically. These pigments are being used in different products all over the beauty industry as well. And there are actually no studies that prove that they are carcinogenic. They're only politicians that assume that they might be. And I mean, this is not a base to actually make something illegal. It's really weird for us because we really don't understand, and we really don't understand where this hate is coming from suddenly. Like, we haven't been on the radar for the EU for a long time, and suddenly someone is pushing on these two pigments really hard. One of the things I know that with this blue 15, they had a concern because it was in hair dye. And this was supposed to make your scalp permanently blue, which we don't really care much about because this is what we want. You know, we want this permanent pigment that actually really stays in the skin. We actually had a meeting. I'm one of the Intense sponsored artists. We had a meeting with Mario, and he actually talked about this whole subject, and there's no one that can actually say where the main problem is, because there is no main problem for the actual tattoo industry. And that's why I said, like, if you drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes, you're free to choose what to put in your body, and suddenly with tattooing you're not. They were really close to make the titanium oxide as well illegal, because this is the white pigment that actually everyone uses this pigment. It's the one white pigment that actually exists, and it has been in use. They wanted to make this illegal as well, but there was the food industry, and they, especially like toothpaste and stuff like this, they use this a lot as well, and they pushed really hard that this won't be illegal, and they managed to get it to stay legal. And that's actually like proves again that we're just not big enough to have enough push on politics to stand our ground. You know, we actually have this is a famous doctor, Dr. Tsokos. Is a like from the Charité in Berlin, like the main legal medical thing. I don't know how to say it in English. In Berlin, and he's like a pretty famous doctor, and he actually is doing like procedures on Instagram. Like, he's actually showing parts of corpses and what's happening, and he showed actual lymph nodes from people that have been tattooed. And I mean, he's been doing this since years, I think like 20 years, 30 years or something, and he has seen so many lymph nodes, and he said not one of them had been problematic. He didn't see any causality between ink in the lymph nodes and cancer. So there's not one study that actually proves that these pigments are actually dangerous. So I can't really answer you the question, because we don't really know where the problem is. Like, the thing is this, these colors, this law has been passed somehow on the down low, like no one actually really realized. And we haven't been fighting for them to not be not illegal. We have been fighting for we have been fighting against the law because the law have been passed silently.
Mhm.
And then actually after we realized, so in it has like started to be in act the last year. And now this year, actually, the pigments are legal. Before it was just the carriers, some of the carriers in the inks, they have been changed. And now we actually have the problem that this blue 15 and the green 7 is illegal now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, someone is pushing on the whole industry. You know, it's like, and I heard that there's regulations coming in the US as well.
Mhm.
Some federal regulation when it comes to healing and like, I don't know, categorization of tattooing itself. I just seen some people posting stuff. So this concerns all of us, not just the EU.
Yeah, that's I haven't heard about it, but I'm sure there is. I'll look into it more when we get off this, because it would not surprise me. But that's crazy that they were able to pass those laws to get rid of, I mean, green and blue, like just kind of under the table. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. And we can actually feel that these regulations on tattooing has been like going on since a couple of years. I'm one of the owners of Tattoo Armor. I don't know if you heard about this. It's like these aftercare pads.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like we actually had problems importing them into Europe because the medical regulations or the customs of Estonia, where we have been them importing them through, they actually said we can't use them because of the packaging, because it's tattoo aftercare, so it's not allowed to be used as an aftercare product and stuff like this. It's really weird. It's nothing that actually has anything to do with the actual product, but more about like some weird regulations again, you know?
Got it. Yeah, it sounds like somebody high up is not happy with the tattoo industry. And that's, I mean, really,
Has
you
to
get
be.
rid of, yeah, blues, greens. If they got rid of white, like I guess everybody's just gonna be like a black and gray artist now. Like it's just
Yeah.
limiting so much. It's really
I mean,
unfortunate.
it's going to be interesting what's going to happen in the future. I had this real conspiracy theory that it was actually big beauty companies like L'Oreal and Maybelline or something. They're maybe trying to push off smaller competitors of the market through by passing these laws and then bringing out their own product that, you know, it's like kind of like Apple, you know, creating a problem and giving the solution for it. So maybe it's that, you know, maybe there's just someone that realized, okay, the tattoo industry is somewhere to make money of. So who knows?
It
In the end, it's all about money, I guess.
it really is, and that might be a conspiracy theory, but it wouldn't surprise me that much if
Yeah.
that's what was happening. So with the ban is because of some of the chemicals in the inks, correct?
It's about the pigment itself. We
Actually,
had they had problem with some of the carriers, but the main concern were the two pigments. They're called blue 15 and green 7.
so does that affect any other industry? I know you were talking about like in the beauty industry, people were using it as hair dye. So is that affecting those companies as well? And
I guess, and honestly, I don't know. I haven't checked, but it should, because this pigment is illegal to use in all the EU. So it should be problematic for barbers as well and other industries. I don't know if this law mainly concerns only tattooing, but as far as what I heard, that this concerns like everything that comes in contact with the skin. So I guess food industry as well, but they're probably not that concerned about this one pigment, or maybe they have other regulations as well. That's nothing I can really say anything about.
got it, got it. Yeah, that would be interesting to know what other industries this is affecting, if any, and if not,
Yeah,
it's weird it'd only be tattoos and unfortunate. Um, kind of switching gears a little bit, man. like we've looked at a bunch of your work. You're an absolutely amazing artist.
Thank you.
So wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like, what was your, like, when did you know you wanted to be a tattoo artist, and what was your apprenticeship like?
Well, I actually studied computer science, and while studying, I started to work as a graphic designer on the side. And I got my first tattoo when I was 16. It was actually a present from my stepdad, because I told him I want to have a cell phone or a tattoo, and he said like, yeah, no, cell phones are not healthy, you know. So I got a tattoo, and then while I was studying, I had this apprenticeship as I was working as a graphic designer, and I was already started to get like heavily tattooed, you know, like full sleeve and stuff like this. And I realized that this whole sitting in front of the computer all day is not really my thing. And I actually asked my tattoo artist if he would be, if he's taking apprentices. So I actually asked him, I showed him some of my drawings, and here's where the story gets a bit weird, because in that time I had no idea how apprenticeship works. So for me, it was like, okay, this is the way how to do it. And it's completely normal, because he basically told me like, yeah, you can be my apprentice. You can try it out at home for a year, and I can be your mentor. And after that, if you're good enough, you can work in my studio. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure, that's how it works. You know, he sold me his first, like my first machine, it's still like a coil machine, stuff like this. I was like, yeah, sure, that's probably how it works. So he just started tattooing. I basically just did 2 tattoos on pigskin. And then a friend of mine was like, yeah, okay, fuck it, tattoo me. And I was like, yeah, I have no fucking idea what to do. Like, I don't know how to do it. And I actually didn't even know how to make a stencil. So I got, you know, this graphite paper that like where you can like make like rough drawings through.
Yeah.
I thought that's stencil paper, because I saw that, you know, like that's how you do stencils. So I didn't know there's something like stencil paper. So I bought this graphite paper and actually tried to put it on the skin, and like I started. It was I was supposed to do that 2-3 stars in his kitchen, and I put the graphite stencil on and did like one line, did one wipe, and it was completely gone. So I basically like freehanded the whole thing. Looked absolutely horrible. It's just I'm just happy there was no infection, nothing. So yeah, for me that was normal. I was like regularly talking with my tattoo artist, and he gave me some advice. And after 1 year, I actually started working in his studio. It was like pretty old school. He's a really good tattoo artist. And after 2 years, I opened my own studio.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that
yeah,
doesn't sound like a very normal apprenticeship.
no, no. I guess nowadays it's more normal than you think, with these whole scratches on the couch thing. This whole like minimalistic bullshit trash art stuff that's been going on. But I, I can't recommend it to anyone to do it like this. You know, like forget the whole quality of tattooing. Like that doesn't matter. But when it comes to infections and stuff like this, you know, this is like a major risk. But you don't realize it. Like I had no idea. I bought some DVDs, started watching, like even started watching medical DVDs. So I actually, like, even in hindsight, I worked pretty clean at home, because like from the beginning on, I said, if like I want a tattoo, but this is not going to be a hobby. I actually want to be like a full-blown tattoo artist. So I checked on how to do it, and like educated myself a lot as well. And for me, up to this day, like the whole medical part of tattooing is super important for me. Like in our shop, you're not allowed to wear street shoes. Like you get slippers that are like daily disinfected and stuff like this. And because and that's the one thing I can really tell every apprentice: don't tattoo at home. Get a proper shop. Like do it the old school way. You know, there's still like some of these old schoolers that have like a really hard school, but that's the school where that you should go through. You know, it's a medical job. You know, we work in a medical field, so you should know medical. Like you have stuff like MRSA, we have HIV, hepatitis, and stuff like this. It's like you're not just endangering yourself, you're endangering like people, like people's health. You're risking people's health if you do like scratcher tattoos at home.
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of risk in that. It really only takes, like, even if, like, let's say you do give somebody an infection, like the repercussions from that can like change your life. I mean, and
Yeah.
obviously not for the better. I mean, let's say, like you said, they get some kind of staph infection. I mean, it's, I think a lot more, especially when you're an apprentice or you don't know better, it's not understood how serious it can really be.
Yeah, in my opinion, we still lack on this subject. Even a lot of old school tattoo artists, or maybe especially some old school tattoo artists, and I'm not talking about the style old school, I'm talking about like old timers, you know, where it just had been different, you know, like tattooing is just a bit more loose when it comes to the medical thing. And I think we as artists and people that educate should really put a big focus on this whole medical field, because this is actually what makes it dangerous for us. You know, if you have infections and stuff like this, we're going to get more regulations, like loads more, because they're going to put us more in this whole medical field, and this makes things more expensive, more difficult, and much more regulated, which can be good, but can create a lot of problems as well. Like in my opinion, because in Germany it's a bit different. You just go to your government, get like a sheet of paper that says you're tattooing, costs 40 euros, and that's it. There's no test, no nothing. So I think at least like a medical test that is uh, done by like a real, like a professional, should be the minimum for tattooing. You know, make shitty tattoos, I don't care, but please don't endanger anyone.
Yeah, I can only imagine if the government was able to trace like a string of infections back to another color that you guys, or that white that they almost took off the market. Like that would,
Whatever, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they would go after that one next. And then yeah, it's huge. It is a little crazy that there's, like, at least for the most part in the US, you know, if you want to become an artist, you have to, you know, get your bloodborne pathogens and do a handful of different things. It is a little crazy that it's just, here's your license, best of luck.
Yeah, it's insane. And that's in Germany, you know, where everything is over regulated. You know,
Yeah.
everything takes forever here if you need any papers, because we have so much bureaucracy. But when it comes to tattooing, no one really knows how to take care of us. This is, we like at one point a couple of years ago, um, the minister for agriculture was responsible for tattooing. So yeah, it's just weird. You know, they don't really know where to put us.
That is very weird.
Yeah.
Agriculture, okay. Man, yeah, that is weird. Um, so you went through your apprenticeship, and then you started your own shop. Are you still in the same location? How long have you been in? How long have you had your own shop?
Well, I opened my first studio in 2013.
Okay,
So, oh yeah, 10 years now.
10
Yeah.
years.
And it was pretty small. It was like a really small street shop. I was alone there, and it was kind of like improvised. You know, I didn't have that much money after 2 years of tattooing. I had some money to invest, but nothing crazy. So I kind of like started slow and made it grow organically. After I think half a year, I got an apprentice, and then we stayed in the shop up until 2019, where I started to kind of expand, because I had like a back room, and I actually wanted to get one more tattoo artist. But the two guys, Adrian Cercoles and Alex Frost, that I wanted, you know, like two really good tattoo artists, and I had to kind of decide between them. And I said, like, why not both? You know, they're really, really good. I would love to have them both. That's when I decided to actually move location and to build a new shop, like really from the ground up. And I started looking for a place, and I found this amazing place that is like in this old building. We have 4.2 meter high ceilings. I don't know how
Oh
much that
wow.
is in feet. That's like 12 feet. I don't know, 13 feet.
Yeah, like 13 feet.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like really high. So I decided to make the whole shop look like neo-Gothic, you know, kind of. We have this gray walls, and the upper part of these gray walls are like a pearl shimmer, and I have this baroque ornaments on the walls and in the ceilings. But I actually made them black, so you have like gray walls and black ornaments on it. It looks like an old, like genuinely old chandeliers and stuff. And the one premise I said, I want in the shop is like only originals, you know, no prints, no plastic stuff. All the stuff we have in the shop is like stuffed animals. I actually have a real skull, like a real human skull in the shop as well. Um, Only original paintings. So it's really cool. I'm super, super happy with the new shop. And everyone that comes in the shop's like, yeah, that's one of the most beautiful tattoo shops they've ever seen.
That's awesome, man. That's cool that you got to design your own and really make it unique. Do you have any pictures of
Yeah.
it on your Instagram?
Yeah. On Instagram, I'm not sure. Maybe on the shop Instagram, but for sure on the website. There's like, if we go on the start website you can see it right away.
Okay, I will have to jump into there and take a look because I am very interested. That sounds super cool. Excuse me. So as far as your style, how did you evolve into the style that you have now?
I've been asked this question a couple of times, and I'm really not sure if I'm already there, if I already have my own style. I mean, people tell me they recognize my style. Um, I sometimes do and sometimes don't. You know, I keep switching like back and forth. I had this time where like I need to have my own unique thing, and since then I've gotten a bit more relaxed, because yeah, I do mainly realism, but I would call it more like surrealism, because I don't do much these like take a picture of a portrait and copy this as good as possible. I basically try to create scenes, you know, where like one full sleeve is actually telling a story. um I did a lot of these like morph tattoos. We have like pictures of faces morphing into landscapes and stuff like this. That's also kind of this storytelling process. I want the tattoos to look alive, you know, to actually where you look at it and you feel like they're trying to tell you something. So that's how I basically do it with the clients as well. In general, I think it's not you that's deciding your style, it's your clients. You know, they kind of push you in a direction, whether it's color, black and gray. Of course, like for me, it was clear it's going to some color realism direction, but I feel like I'm still evolving a lot. I still do a lot of black and gray. From time to time, I love to do bioorganic stuff. You know, it's kind of like, because they flow so nicely with the body, you can have this really nice high contrast projects. Um, so I'm still trying to find myself, I guess. One of my latest additions are these goddesses. I don't know if you've seen this front piece with this huge goddess on it, where the head is kind of going into wings, and you have this vortex where the wings like breaking off.
Yep, I'm
That's what
looking at
I'm
it right
actually
now.
trying to push. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to push right now. I'm trying to make like a goddess series. And this is the goddess of destruction. So I actually have clients now that are coming to me and they're just saying like, yeah, I want a goddess of wealth, I want a goddess of destruction, of whatever. And I try to create their unique piece, you know, for this um, almighty deity thing, whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking at the piece right now, and man, that's pretty amazing. You do some great work. I mean, that I
Thanks a
really
lot.
like the nurse apocalyptic back piece.
Ah, that, yeah, this was a collaboration with two more artists, with Adrian Ciacoles and Christian Palermo.
Ah, that's I'm a big zombie movie fan, so that's
Yeah.
I really like that one. Um, so I mean, you're an amazing artist, and you've been tattooing 13 years, about that.
Yeah,
Oh.
12. Yeah, 12 years. Yeah, fuck. Yeah.
um when you were growing up, I mean, were you into art? Were you into drawing? Or was this kind of more as you moved into tattooing, it became more prevalent?
I have a difficult relationship with art because my mother is actually an artist. She's like a He studied art and now works like full time as a performance artist. And art for me was always connected with being, let's say, poor. There wasn't a
Mm,
lot of money around when I was a kid because, I mean, it was my mom's dream, and she was like a mother of three without dads involved. So there was not much money going on in my family, and ever since like I've been in school, I always wanted to be a manager, like make big bucks and work hard and work in the economy, and like the complete opposite of being an artist. Um, but after the years, that's even also one of the reasons why I studied computer science, because first I wanted to go into architecture, but even through school I wanted to go to New York to do my MBA. And then I was like, okay, maybe architecture. So it's just already going into this kind of artsy thing. And then I checked how's the job uh, situation right now for architecture, and that's horrible in Europe. So I was like, okay, let's do computer science because I'm a bit of a nerdy guy, but this is like, this has a future. And then I actually started to working as a graphic designer, and I have a good eye for shapes and colors, I guess. Um, so it just kind of like art kind of drew me back. It just caught me in the web, and but I'm really happy the way it happened, because if I would have just stayed on this art path, I wouldn't have this economic side in me, because I'm an artist, but I'm also like a full-blown businessman.
mm,
I love to work on business stuff, to create structures for companies and stuff like this. So
mm,
I feel like this goes hand in hand. If you want to be a successful tattoo artist, you have to be a businessman, or you need a businessman on your side, your shop manager, whatsoever. And I'm really lucky that I have kind of both sides in me. And I mean, I had a big discussion with my mom about what is art when I started tattooing, because she said like tattooing is not art, because for her, all she saw, like for her, the tattoos are not art, and that's the bit of arrogance of studied artists. They're, for them, nothing that is not studied basically is not art.
mm.
So it took some years, and we had like these big fights about what is art, and if tattooing is art and not. And after a couple of years, she actually like really properly looked at my stuff, and as I was improving, and she was like, wow, okay, I, that's way more artsy than I expected. And actually now she respects me a lot. I mean, I do these paintings and stuff as well. I work with oils, and I do these spatula paintings too. And yes, it was a rocky way to being a successful tattoo artist, but I think every tattoo artist tells this bit of a rocky story.
Yeah, I think most people that have become successful, it's never as smooth as you think it is.
A lot of
No.
setbacks. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Well, that's pretty awesome that you were, you know, you had that influence in your mom as an artist, but you also, because of that, realized that business is important, and then you were able to put those together and done what you've done. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm super happy with it. Also this business side helped me to go into other ventures, like Tattoo Armor and stuff like this, that where I actually feel like I can do something with my business side as well. Because when you have a tattoo shop, when you're like full-time tattooing, it's very difficult to do something beside it. I have two kids as well, So my days are really, really full. But I love the balance, between just like creating my art. My wife, she's doing the shop management, where I'm very, very grateful for, because she's basically doing our life management as well, like managing the shop and the kids. And I can really focus on tattooing, but also on my business side, and like trying to provide financially for the family.
And speaking of work-life balance, I always always like to ask shop owners is like, how do you maintain that good work-life balance? Because I mean, being a tattoo artist is busy enough, clients, drawings, obviously the actual tattooing, and then you're a shop manager, and then you're a dad, and you're a husband, and you like to do art.
To be honest, I don't have a work-life balance. Um, it currently it's horrible. It's really horrible, and I'm really, really glad I have my wife, because she's really, really taking care that I can do, can work the way I do right now. I can maintain this way of working forever. I can tell you about like how my week usually goes. Because we're both like really into sports as well. So I go 6 times train, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And
Nice.
so this is basically my free time. In the mornings, I get up at 6, go train, then drive to the shop, start working on the computer, do like office stuff, business stuff, or tattoo armor, or still work on some designs. At 11, my client comes in, we're tattooing till 6, 7, then I go home. I try to go home before dinner, so we always have dinner together. And then I go back on the computer till 10, 11, then I go to bed, and then repeat that on the next day. So I have like 60-hour weeks. So right now I don't have a work-life balance. I can really recommend everyone to trying to build something to stay sane, but also really build something that works outside of tattooing, because there's so many things that can happen that can stop you from tattooing. So that's one of the big reasons why I really push other parts of my life business wise as well, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yes. And on that point, there was a tattoo artist here in town, Doc, that had a good clientele. Everybody loved him. Like 7 years ago, he was in an ATV accident, and he can no longer use his right arm. And now he's homeless, which is super sad. Back when he was an artist, he was one of my artists. But there's nothing else he could do. It was
Exactly.
really unfortunate and sad to see.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you have to work with your brain as well.
Yeah.
Like try to find work where you can work with your brain, because if your brain stops working, then you have different problems. But I mean, just like tattooing is a fickle bitch, like just get your hand broken. You can work for, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks at least. 6 to 8 weeks, like we can't maintain that. I mean, we had to maintain for 9 months without tattooing because of Corona. But now, with the normal industry and everything still like running, and you can't do anything for 2 months, half a year. I mean, probably Joshua Carlton, who unfortunately this is like I was one of my big stars when I started tattooing, like one of my big idols, and he's battling cancer right now, like on and off. I think now he's like in a pretty good state, but I mean, this like your life can turn around so fast, and creating art it needs a lot from you, like physically and mentally, and this like, or you can just have a blockade. Like I know artists that had a blockade and they couldn't work for months, and they were like, I would love to, but I just can't, it just like we're forced to be creative on the spot, like people come in, you have a consultation, and they expect to be you throw all these crazy ideas that make up these amazing tattoos. Yeah, we can do that, but for sure there will be times as well where it's not that easy.
Yeah, you really do rely on your creativity and I guess not being burnt out,
Yeah.
and your hands working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother-in-law is actually a tattoo artist, and he broke his hand, so he got to experience that exact same thing. It's, um, and I'm sure most artists at least once or twice in their life go through something like that, where, you break a bone or you have writer's block, and just being able to focus on something else or have a another line of business or knowing business is never a bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not even sure if it always should be in the tattoo industry as well, because it's still a very, like, from what I experienced, it's a difficult industry. Like like showing an artist and convincing the artist to try a new product is very difficult, because like in Bavaria we have that saying, what the farmer doesn't know, he doesn't eat.
Ah,
And it's like that, like tattoo artists, they're very hard to convince, especially when you're a company and you're trying to show them a new product. They always think that you want to sell them something, which is true on one side, but on the other side you're also trying to show them a nice new product. But normally you need another good artist they're friends with that actually tell them, like, this is a really good product. This is why this whole pro team thing works so well, because people rely on other artists more than on companies telling them what's good, which is a good thing in my opinion, because you don't have this, like, just people being super dependent on companies. This can happen really fast as well. But with this whole pro team thing, you at least have like good artists that actually showing like good products that are nice to use and actually have an advantage for the industry as well.
definitely, man. Tell me a little bit about the pro team that.
Well, I mean, as Tattoo Armor, we have a pro team, which basically like all big tattoo companies have, like FK Irons, like Cheyenne, they have a pro team. And so do we. Like, we sponsor the pro team with a product, and they actually show that they're using the product, which is super nice. And we actually try to build like a really high quality pro team that are actually fans of the product. We have these personal talks with them. We know, since like 3 of the 5 owners of the company are actually tattoo artists themselves, like pretty well-known tattoo artists. We talk with the others personally on conventions, and we show them the product, and a lot of them already have been using it, and we give them product to try. And we only want people in the pro team that tried the product and they actually said, wow, this is a really, really good thing. Like, we love using it. It's an advantage. It helps the client, it helps us. And that's the main points where we say we need the pro team that actually stands behind the product.
Yeah, you can definitely tell if somebody is representing a company, if they genuinely like the product, or if it's just, they just represent it because they want the benefits of it.
Yeah, and also just being on a pro team sounds nice.
Yeah,
that's how it is. I completely understand it, but this should not be the main focus while you're on the pro team of a product. Like, if you don't really use it, why being on the pro team?
Yeah. And so are the people on your pro team, are they mostly in Germany right now, or?
No, we sell worldwide, or actually. We have like really, I guess, most of the big names actually under contract, like Evan Olin, Ryan Ashley, Vala Montero, and like really a lot of big names that we are working with. So it's like this company is expanding fast, and I can really just recommend everyone just give it a try. If you don't like it, completely fine, but please try it, because you really will see the benefit of it. It helps so much with the healing. It helps so much when you have like a 2-day session. you put the stencil on your tattoo for 1 day, you put the tattoo armor on and tell the client, just come back with the tattoo armor on, don't take it off whatsoever. And you take it off, you will see the tattoo is super dry already. The stencil is still on. Like, you can just continue working, you know, for conventions, it's amazing. And when you're done tattooing, you just wrap the client, give them some products for them to change it, you know, for 2 days or whatever. And you kind of cancel out the big problematic subject client, you know, because a lot of the problematic healing happens because the client is not doing the right thing as well. You know, he's like not washing it enough, or not thoroughly enough, or applying too much cream whatsoever, and you still get like plasma coming out of the tattoo, and the skin stays open too long. This, like, if you have excess cream, excess plasma, whatever, the pads, they take all of it away, and you have the perfect amount that's supposed to be on the tattoo, and the tattoos are completely dry after 2 or 3 days. The clients don't even feel it anymore, and for the first days they feel really protected. You know, it's like an extra layer on the tattoo. If people touch it, if you hit like a door or whatever, it doesn't hurt. So we have really good feedback on the product. People love it. It's really good.
Yeah, it sounds really good. The majority of my tattoos, you know, when they're done, they get wrapped, or they've been wrapped with saran wrap, and best of luck. And then, you know,
yeah, and it's moist and warm, and you have the liquid. I mean, it's just also not sanitary, you know. You're like, it's just not holding the liquid, it's just dropping everywhere. You have blood and plasma everywhere. Give it a try. Like, believe me, you will like them.
Where can people find them at?
You can check on our website, tattooarmor.com, and on the where to buy page, you see all the supplies. You can actually buy them directly from us. Mostly when you're in Europe, we have a US supply as well, or most of the known supply companies like Killer Ink, Tattoo Everything supplies and stuff. You can buy it there. So just check our website, tattooarmor.com, and then you for sure find a local supplier we can buy it from.
Awesome, man. I will actually order some, because I have a session coming up. And
amazing.
Yeah, that sounds way better than how I've always done it. So
hey, Amazon as well. I guess should be on Amazon as well.
Okay, awesome.
So for sure you'll find it.
I'll look it up as soon as I get off here.
If not, hit me up and then I'll send you a link.
I will do that, brother. Hey man, I've taken up almost an hour of your time. I massively appreciate this. I know you're a busy guy. Had a great conversation, and you know, again, it's nice to understand a little bit more of what's going on with the whole pigment stuff in Europe, especially coming from somebody over there, when it sounds just like so crazy. And again, we had an artist on from Denmark a few months ago, and he's touched on it a little bit. And since then, I've had people ask me, like, do you know what's really going on? Like, no. So that was a great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, man. Thank you.
Have a great evening. Ciao.
You too. Bye.